Hi everyone, Jamie Madison here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today we're going to make this card, and this is with the Simon Says Stamp May card kit. This card kit comes with a beautiful 6x8 stamp set, and it is called Delicate Flowers. And these little flowers are absolutely gorgeous. So I couldn't wait to get started using this beautiful stamp set. Now I went ahead and took 3 of the beautiful flowers off of the stamp set, and I have my Bristol Smooth paper, and I'm bringing out my Versamark because we're going to be doing some heat embossing. So I'm going to go ahead and use my Versamark to make sure that my stamps are well inked up. And that's what is good about having a stamp positioner, is if you don't get a good impression the first time, you can go back in and restamp it. So for my heat embossing, I'm going to be doing some white heat embossing. I'm almost out of embossing powder, so I'm going to have to go and get some more. This little container is starting to get kind of empty on me. But I'm going to go ahead and heat emboss that with my heat gun. And I'm going to make sure that that's all smooth and melted. And I'm going to give it just a few seconds to dry afterwards before I go in with my watercoloring. So to do the watercoloring today, I'm going to use the back board of one of the Bristol Smooth packs because I go through Bristol Smooth quite often, and I have these cardboard left over from my paper packs. So I'm just going to tape down my paper to this board. That way I can pick it up and move it around. You can use whatever kind of board you want, or you can just tape it down to your work surface. But I just went ahead and used this little scrap piece that I had. So to get started on the watercoloring, I'm going to be using my watercolor palette by Koi Watercolor. Now I've taken this out and I've cut it out of the palette because it's easier for me to work with these colors when they're not in the palette. So you don't have to do that, of course. It actually makes it look more sloppier, but it's just easier for me to work with. So I'm just going to be using the orange that's in this palette. It's actually a red, but I mixed it a little bit with the yellow that I pulled. So it's kind of a honey actually. And I just kind of mixed those two together to make an orange and a honey color. And I just very sloppily added that to these flowers. I wasn't trying to make this look neat at all. I just wanted it to be like a splotches of watercolor. So I did the yellow towards the center and red-orange towards the outer edge. Now I went ahead and used my heat tool to dry it. You can let it air dry if you'd like, but I wanted to heat it up so I could go in with my second coat of watercolor. I want this to be a little bit darker, but you can leave it the first one that you like. So I went ahead and did the exact same thing, put that honey color in the center, and then just used that red-orange on the outer. I went ahead and heat dried that and set that aside because I'm going to fussy cut those flowers out. Now to get started with my background, I'm going to be going in with my Bristol Smooth paper again, and I'm using this really nice mat that I got off of Amazon. It is a silicone mat, but the thing I love about this mat is not only is it super easy to clean up, but it actually kind of holds my paper down. My paper does not move hardly at all when I'm doing blending. So I don't have to tape it down or really put a lot of pressure on it to keep my paper in place. I'm very happy with this little silicone mat. So to get started on the Distress Oxide that I'm using Fossilized Amber, and I'm blending all that towards the center, but I'm wanting my center to stay kind of white. But don't worry, I'm going to show you a little trick at the end, how you can get that fade effect as well if you happen to go too close into your center. I'm going to go in with my Fired Brick, and I'm going to just blend that in so it's going to make more of an orange color, just like our flowers were. So I'm just going to work back and forth with the red and the yellow until I get a nice ombre effect going in towards the center. So it's going to go from red to orange to yellow to white is my goal for this watercolor piece. Now I always think not to get too frustrated when you're using Distress Oxides. They're very forgiving, and you can always spray some water down if you've gone a little too dark or too far in an area, but it does reactivate the rest of the piece, so you got to be careful where you do put your water. Now with this piece, I did go too deep of a color with my Fossilized Amber. I didn't want it to be that yellow, but like I said, we're going to use some water and we're going to fix that center so it blends a lot better. So with this big white center, I'm going to go ahead and just blend in that yellow all together because it was just too harsh of a line and I didn't like the way it was looking. So I blended in some, and then I took my stamp chamois, which is very well loved, as you can tell, and I used it and made sure it was wet and placed it in the center to start grabbing some of that color up. And then I'm going to rub it back and forth. Be careful with the Bristol Smooth paper because this is not meant to hold a lot of water or have a lot of work done to it. It's a very light paper, so you don't want to end up making it fray or pill in any way. So just be careful that you don't overwork the paper. So I'm just adding water, and then I'm taking my stamp chamois and just mopping it up and then tapping off the excess just so those lines start blending and getting more of like a sunset kind of look on both ends. Then I went ahead and just did some spray dots on there so it would be more of a distressed look with my oxide. So yes, it looks like I'm being aggressive when I'm rubbing back and forth, but I'm being very light-handed. Now I'm going to go in with my Kuretake. Now I'm using the white and the silver that comes in this, and I will list the colors all up in the left-hand corner if you want to grab your Kuretakes and do the same thing. So I'm just going to be using some splatters because, like I said, I want this to kind of be a distressed look. And I'm going to go ahead and let this air dry as well. And then once it's had a chance to dry, because those do take a little bit of time to dry, I'm going to go in with my die cut. This is the Wonky Borders by MFT. And this is one of my new favorite stamp sets. I don't think I could go without using this border die now. I feel like all my cards have to have this border die. I'm just in love with this border die. And I'm going to run that through my Spellbinders. I've had this little die cut machine since last year, and I have not replaced the pads either, the cutting plates. So these are the same cutting plates that I had a year ago, and they've gotten much love and much use, and they're still going strong. So, and I love this little die cut machine because I can fold it up in my workstation and it's not taking up a whole bunch of room and it's not very cluttery, you know. So after I cut my little flowers out, I'm actually only going to end up using 2 of these. And see how that beautiful gradient goes from that red to yellow, you know, and then to like a light, almost, I don't know what that color would be. But it's like a really light yellow in the center. And it just blends beautifully. I just love the background for this piece. Now, as you can see in my card on the left-hand side, there's something stamped in the center, but it wasn't vibrant enough. Like it didn't get enough detail on it that you could really make out what it was. So then I decided I'm going to stamp the exact same thing on some black cardstock. And I'm going to heat emboss the sentiment thanks that came in this stamp set. It actually says thanks for always being there, but the main part is the thanks part. And I went ahead and placed that with a white border on the background so it would match the white border going around our watercolor piece. Well, our Distress Oxide piece with watercolor flowers. I'm going to go ahead and take my ATG tape ruler and I'm going to go ahead and tape this down to a pre-scored A2 size top fold card. And then I'm going to take some foam adhesive and put that on the back of my thanks sentiment, and then I'm going to put it on the back of my flowers as well. After I have all of that taken care of, I'm going to go ahead and add that to my card. Now, after we have that done, we are almost done with this card, but we're going to add some sequins to it. And I have been absolutely loving these Studio Katia Crystal Clear Confetti. Now, I've been using these on so many cards lately, and I just love the reflection that they give. It's almost like having little mirrors on my card. They're just absolutely beautiful. I highly recommend these if you want some sparkle on your card. And they're completely flat as well, which is amazing, so they ship wonderful. So after I've glued these down with my Tombow multi-medium matte glue, which I pretty much use for all of my sequins because it's such a strong holding glue, we are almost complete. Now lately I've been showing how I decorate the inside of my card, so I want to keep with that because I really enjoy decorating the inside of my card. So I'm going to go ahead and pull out the washi tape that came with this kit. I put a stripe at the bottom, and then I'm going to take out my little stamp set that I got not too long ago. It is called Tiny Words of Faith, and this is by Simon Says Stamp. And the little one I used says, "So glad God brought you into my life." So I thought that would be perfect for a beautiful friend card. Now to do the top of the card, I'm bringing out the old stamp set from June, and it is the Beautiful Flowers kit. And I'm using the UR, and I went ahead and put some washi tape down to mask off the rest of the stamp. And then I'm using True Friend. So the whole sentiment is "You are a true friend." And then of course we have the bottom sentiment saying, "So glad God brought you into my life." And then I went ahead and used the little leaves that came in this month stamp kit. To finish this off, I'm just going to cut the washi tape off the sides, and we have a finished inside of our card. Now, it wouldn't be complete if you don't add your stamp on the back, so everyone knows that you've put your heart and soul into this card. I went ahead and stamped my name, and this card is complete. I really hope you guys enjoyed this, and I hope you try and make something of your own. Thank you guys so much for joining me, and I will see you guys next week. Thanks. Bye.